Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Wade and this is the 996 Guy channel. For those of you that are new, I make videos about my 2003 Porsche 996 that I've owned since the summer of 2015. And one thing I like to do is make review videos and ownership review videos and put them on the channel to kind of help those that are looking to buy a 996 or that own a 996 and are looking for a solution that that I've found out either through my mechanic or I've done small fixes myself, and just general information about my car and 996s and just anything that I learned. This is part one of my 10-year ownership review video series, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. And what I plan on doing is just kind of doing what I'm doing right now, walking around the car and kind of taking you guys through anything that I can think of. I do these videos off the top of my head, so anything that has gone wrong with the car, I'll see if I can talk about it in this video or in another one, and just kind of take you guys through the car bumper to bumper and show you guys what the car is all about. For those of you that have been subscribed and follow along and have followed along for the last 10 years, you kind of know what the deal is. So I think I'll start with the frunk. I have to say, the car is looking, I just wiped it down and it's looking great. The paint is looking great in this light. So let's look at the front. Okay, so don't judge me by how messy my trunk is, but yeah, I keep all my detailing stuff in not all of it. I have a bunch at home too, but keep all the essentials in the trunk. If I'm showing up to a car show, I want to make sure I have solid rags and sprays to make the car look really good before I show up. But you get the idea. The trunk is pretty deep. Goes down to there. It's a great trunk for groceries. If you're looking to buy a 996, this is the perfect daily driver because you can fit a lot of stuff in the trunk and in the back seats as well. You can fold down the back seats, fit a bunch of groceries back there, and yeah, it's really great. Now I know some of you guys are looking at this and saying probably making fun of me because I use turtle wax, but I got that stuff on sale. I was desperate and I needed some wax and dry because I actually did a paint correction on the car, and I couldn't get the products in time, so I was desperate and went to Walmart. This stuff actually works great. It's a great spray wax, so I highly recommend that. And then of course my go-to, I've talked about this in other videos, Meguiar's Quick Detailer. I'm running out, I gotta get some more, but that is also a key product that I use. And then I have bags and always keep some extra oil. So yes, if you're looking at a 996 as a daily driver, you can definitely fit a lot of stuff in the front. Now you can't talk about the 996 without talking about the headlights. I feel like this topic of discussion has kind of faded away. A lot less people make fun of the headlights. This was, when I first bought this car, that was like one of the things that drove people nuts. Like they're not correct to the original 911s from the 70s and 80s and the 90s, and this is where Porsche deviated from the frog headlights, the round headlights that everybody's so used to. But I gotta tell you, when I'm out, nobody can really tell the difference, especially if they're not a Porsche enthusiast. I'll get people come up to me at the grocery store or when I'm at the gas station and they don't even know what year it is. They just know it's a 911 because of the iconic shape from the side. Nobody even notices the headlights, and because these cars have gathered such a, I guess, cult following over the last few decades, the headlights are actually something that are kind of sought after now. A lot of people like the runny egg headlights, what they call them, and yeah, it's become a thing. I have always liked it. I liked it on the Boxer. When I first bought this car, I was actually looking at a Boxer, and then the salesman upsold me to upsold me to this car, and it was it was great. Like, I'm glad I made this choice and not the Boxer. The Boxer, I think, was like $13,000 or $12,000, and this was I bought this car in 2015 for $30,000. I have not done anything to the wheels. These are the wheels that the car came with. I've tried my hardest to keep them in good shape. They are a little scuffed, so I think I will eventually get them resprayed, but they still look great, especially when I wipe them down. I just wiped them down, and they look great. And while we're on the topic of wiping things down, like I mentioned before, I had just wiped down the car before this video, and in the last 10 years, I've taken a few different detailing classes. I've learned how to do different stages of paint correction. I know how to wet sand, dry sand, and it all comes down to practice. If you're not really doing it, then you kind of like lose touch, and you kind of just have to feel it out. With this car, because I've done it a few times, I kind of know how to paint correct this car, but yeah, I'm not a professional yet. Then this car has a sunroof. The sunroof button is actually broken. When you push it up, it collapses into the ceiling. It kind of freaked me out the first time I did it, but then I figured out how to bring the button back down, and it can open up fine, but just when you're closing it forward, it collapses, so you have to there's a little trick to it. And when I come around to the back, these chrome exhaust tips came with the car. They make the car sound great. I'll start the car up in just a minute to let you guys hear the exhaust notes, but I always get compliments on it. It's not too aggressive, it doesn't sound overly obnoxious. It sounds great, and I want to keep the exhaust tips, and if something were to happen to them, then I would get chrome exhaust tips again, like aftermarket exhaust tips. Then there's the engine that has caused so many people stress. This engine is notorious for catastrophic failures. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people stay away from the 996s. This is the flat 6 M96 engine. It first came out in 1999, and I believe the M96 carried over into the first generation of 997s. And one of the biggest issues with these engines, and it's funny because when I first bought the car, this wasn't as talked about, but now that these cars are starting to age, the bore scoring has come up in a bunch of conversations, and it's one of the reasons, like I said, that a lot of people kind of stay away from these cars. The other is the IMS bearing. When I first bought the car, that was the biggest talked about thing in the forums. I had mine replaced about 6 months after I bought the car. I believe it was early 2016. These cars, the M96, the bore score issue, there's several videos out there on YouTube that talk about it, but there's several things that can cause the bore scoring. Some people say that it's inevitable and that it will happen, and that all these cars are going to need a rebuild at some point. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do think that staying on top of the maintenance is one of the biggest things. If you track your car, you want to make sure that you stay on top of the oil changes, do an oil change before and after. At least that's what I've been told by my mechanic. Use good gas as always. Warm it up. These cars like to be warmed up properly. The temp should be around 180 degrees Fahrenheit before you start ripping on the car. And I think you should warm it up even after it reaches 180. And if you take care of these cars, they'll take care of you. I do feel that a lot of the people that have had catastrophic failures don't really take care of these cars. And it's unfortunate because some people will buy cars just to basically sample them and like rip on them for like 6 months to a year and then pass it on without taking care of it. So, then here I come, somebody like me comes along and then buys the car, and then, you never know what you're buying. That's why a PPI is also very important. You can have your mechanic bore scope the engine to make sure that there's no scoring, which could lead to damage to the engine. I did have mine bore scope just recently because I don't know if I was just being paranoid or what, but the oil consumption it seemed like it was going up, but my mechanic said it's actually fine. He said there's slight scratching in the cylinders, but nothing crazy, nothing excessive. So he said we'll just keep an eye on it and make sure everything's okay. And if need be, we can change to a different weight of oil and do more frequent oil changes if there is bore scoring in the future. Now, not all 996s are created equal. Not all 996 engines are created equal. The turbos and the GT models have an engine called the Mesker engine, which did not have bore scoring. It was a different design, and those are more sought after, the turbos and the GT cars of the 996 generation. And I was telling somebody that if I were to buy another 996, I would look at one of those cars, either the turbo or a GT3 or GT2, and that way, I wouldn't have to worry about the whole bore score issue. I'll talk about that more in another video, but that would take a lot of stress off my mind. I wouldn't have to constantly wonder if this car is going to blow up on me, or if that car would blow up on me. But yeah, that's a whole nother video. All right, so let's come to the interior. So for these cars, the 996 was a radical change. I wouldn't say radical, but it was a very big change from the 993, which was the previous generation. The 993 was very 90s in that there was a lot of clean lines. It stayed pretty consistent to the 80s 911s. It felt, the 993s felt very, just 90s, and they felt like they were almost like they were handmade. I don't know if they were handmade or not over in Stuttgart, but when they changed over, when they switched to water-cooled cars, the 996 interior changed a lot, and a lot of these parts seem very plasticky. A lot of people complain about the interior feeling very very cheap. Some people say it's like a Ford Taurus interior, and people hate on it, and I like it. But I think the reason I like my car so much is that it's a black on black interior. Black to me always classies up a car. Like you know, you could be driving like a I don't know, Toyota Camry or Toyota Corolla, and it's a black on black car, and it just automatically feels a little bit, you know, kind of pushes it over a little bit, to make it feel a little bit better than it is. And you know, it's just, I've always liked black cars. I think all of my cars have been black on black. All the German cars that I've owned, and I've been driving German cars for a long time. But yes, I mean, it does feel a little cheap, you know, some of these components, these panels, you know, but I mean, it's still solid, you know, like when you close the door, it's still got a very heavy door and feels very German. You know, this is a 6-speed manual transmission, and you know, the gear shift doesn't, you know, doesn't feel like the old school like 911s or VWs that had, you know, kind of that solid feel to it, to the shifter. One thing that they did for the 996 that a lot of people also hate is that they kind of merged the instrument cluster together. You know, in the older 911s, there were individual circles on the dash, and a lot of people don't like that they kind of overlapped the cluster. The sound system is a Bose system. It sounds okay. You know, the speakers are small. They've got speakers up on the dash, so you know, they're not going to sound that great, you know, because they are small, and they're also old speakers, so you know, they're aging, you know. So if I wanted better sound, you know, I could get, you know, newer speakers, and but I don't really listen to the radio that much. I guess one thing that does annoy me about the radio is that my only option is radio or CD. It doesn't come with Bluetooth. I do have Bluetooth here, but that's just for the phone. But I am thinking about getting the classic Porsche radio that has Bluetooth, because on long drives, like if I ever take this car to Vegas, or you know, I go up to Monterey every year for Car Week, you know, it gets boring, you know, driving up the 5 freeway, and you know, or you know, up the 101 or whatever. It just, you know, I don't want to listen to Tupac or whatever, or whatever old CDs I can scrape up, you know. So you know, it gets old. But you know, I have the leather package in this car, and you know, I like it. It's very comfortable. This car is actually really comfortable on long drives. I've driven it, like I said, to Vegas, all over. I take it on road trips all the time. And this car is actually more comfortable than my BMW. The BMW is not very comfortable at all, and I much prefer to drive this. And here we are on the driver's side. The car has 97,000 miles on it. I bought it when it had 47,000 miles on it. I actually do more driving now than ever before. Like I said, I try and take it on as many road trips as I can, and I'm a part of PCA, so I go on drives with them. And I just try and, you know, it's like car therapy for me. You know, when I've had a stressful week or a frustrating day or whatever, I like to take this car out. Got the glove box here. This isn't a very good place for the Bluetooth. I have to keep kind of shifting this, but the glove box is pretty spacious. Bought this up in Car Week one year. It's a fire extinguisher, some Italian brand. I always keep fire extinguishers in any car that I have, not just this car. But yeah, never know. I've talked to a lot of people that have had their cars catch on fire. So and then back here is the back seats. If you've seen my videos before, you've seen how the back seats can fold down. Oops, there you go. Both sides fold down. You can lay stuff out there and whatever, you know, for a trip. Can't really fit anybody back there, maybe some children. I don't have any kids, so if you have kids, you know, you can fit, I guess, a car seat back there. And then here's the other Bose speakers I was talking about. But yeah, this car is, I mean, look at that. It's just the seat. I'm looking at this right now, and it's so nice. This car has really nice headliners. It's a suede headliner. I had mentioned before that the button here is broken for the sunroof. It goes in. So one side of it goes in. Luckily, I can still operate the sunroof. And then, of course, as all 911s do, the key is on the key ignition switch is on the left side. And the reason for that is when these cars were racing cars, the race car driver could put the key in ignition and turn the car on simultaneously putting the car in first gear with his other hand, and it would shave off time, and he could get on the track faster. I think it's a great design. I love that story. I love that reason. That's like German engineering 101. You know, they really put thought into that. And I think it's great. And then with the instrument cluster, we've got the charging right here for the battery. This is miles per hour over here. Got the big tach that's stayed consistent with these cars. The 911s have always had the big tachometer in the middle. And then got the gas here. And then up here is the engine temperature. And then the oil pressure over on the right. Oil pressure, the very minimum should be about 1.5, 1.5. It should not drop too low. And when you first start the car up, it should be up high, and then it settles down as the pressure drops. Once the car has enough oil circulating through the system. All right, so I'm running out of time. I don't want to keep rambling on about the car. I just wanted to give you guys kind of like an overview of what the car is about. Oh, I put tints in the car too since I bought the car. Put those on last year. No, earlier this year. I think the car looks great with the tints. But I didn't want to keep rambling on. In the next video, I want to talk about what I think most people want to hear about, which is all the stuff that's gone wrong with the car. You know, I can do even a third video talking about the cost of all the things that have gone wrong that I've had to fix. And general maintenance for the car and all that stuff, you know, like how do I maintain it and keep it in such good shape, both inside and out, with the engine, all that stuff. And then in another video, I'll talk about all the events that I've gone to, and then what the future of the car is. You know, am I going to keep it, and what would I get if I don't keep it? So I will see you guys in the next one. Sorry this video is so long. Please comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next one.